Strategic pause. Hello everyone, I am Maick Ofel. Welcome to episode 22. Oh my god, so many guys of Talking Times podcast. I'm here with Emily Lopes. Hi Emily.
Hello.
And we're gonna have an awesome chat about series and a little about movies as well. A lot of interesting things here. Don't worry, we're about to start right after our podcast intro. Hi, Emily.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Okay, before we dive into this amazing conversation, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay.
You can look to this camera.
Oh, sorry. So I'm Emily. I am 24 years old. I am a teacher. I have been teaching English since I was 15 years old. And I'm also graduated in digital marketing. But today I'm here to talk about some series.
Yeah. Not only that, we're gonna dive into what happens behind the curtains as well. It is nice that you have this marketing background, especially about the Barbie movie. And okay, you watch many series, and how many streaming services do you subscribe?
Oh, I am subscribed to HBO, Prime Videos, Netflix, Prime, HBO, Netflix, and Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, okay. No Paramount, no Star Plus.
Oh no, Paramount. Normally you have the movies in other streamings. The only one that I don't have is Star Plus.
Okay, I don't know if I can say that, but there are some stuff. It's like Jack Sparrow TV, you know, that you can have everything. But don't use Jack Sparrow TV, guys. Don't do that. You know, or maybe if you wanna hate capitalism, you know, you can use. Anyways, all right, Emily. When did you discover that you really enjoy series? What was the first one that you watched from the beginning to the end?
Oh, that's very interesting because in the beginning I was a bookworm, so I used to read lots of books. When I was a teenager, I could read 200 pages in 1 hour.
Wait, 200
yeah.
in 1 hour?
Yeah, once in one day I read 8 books.
Damn!
Yes.
I read 8 books in the last 2 years. I feel
yeah, me too now.
Oh no, to be fair, in the last in the last 12 months, to be fair. Okay.
Yeah, and then I stopped reading books and I started watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then movies, it's very small. Like you just watch it and then you end it. And then I was like, no, I need to start watching series because then I have like a bigger time doing that.
Yeah.
And then I started watching series. I started actually with anime. But then I went to series, and I think the first big series that I've watched was How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, that's a nice one to
Yes.
start. Okay, what do you like about that one?
I really thought it was very interesting. I liked the characters very much, and most of all, I wanted to know how he met
Okay,
their mom.
so it was a good premise, huh?
Yes, it was.
Okay, well, let's start the chat polemic here. I love the chat polemic today. I think it's gonna happen again.
Yes, it is better than Friends.
Yes, but that's not even a debate, you know. That's not even a debate, you know. Yeah, and we haven't even started talking about The Office, but my polemic question, that is not polemic, is who was your favorite character there?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
I know.
I'm very bad with names.
Okay, Robin, Lily, Marshall, Barney, Ted.
Oh, Barney. Barney.
Oh my God, high five. Barney was the...
Barney's the best.
Live high five.
Yeah, he's the best. And I loved his arc as well, because he went from like being a womanizer to feeling more sensible, and then by the end of it, I was very sad that it didn't work out with Robin though.
Thank you so much thank you so much. I've been waiting for, I don't know, 10 years to go live and say, they ruined the whole damn development of that character. You spend 9 seasons developing the guy to be like, oh my god, monogamy rules, like Austin Powers in the first movie. Monogamy rules, baby. And then at the very end, it didn't work out.
Yeah, but that's what I was talking to you about, Miss Marvel. Is that those turns into the narrative that you get confused because they were showing you something and then by the end they subvert your expectations, but in a wrong way because you were like, okay, that was not what you were showing me. Like it showed that he was getting more mature and then their relationship was working. And then by the end of it, we just hear that it didn't work out. Like, no, you showed the entire relationship starting and blooming, and then we weren't even there when like it ended.
I'm sorry, I'm not impartial, you know. I can't be. Man, and I had the same feeling with Game of Thrones with the character Daenerys, but we talk about that later. And we were talking how a character can be relatable to the viewers as well. And Barney was like that because a lot of guys, when they have a bit of success and they start to have cute girls paying attention on them, they go to this very like it happened with the character, like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to be with one, and then you finally put a romantic music in your head, you find the one, and then you say, oh my god, she's amazing, like what happened with him and Robin, and they ruined. So why do you think they had that decision? Was a marketing thing? Was because of the fans' rage, maybe? Oh no, she has to be with that, the blue heart.
I have no idea why they did that. I have no idea why they killed the poor girl as well. She was such a nice
She's adorable.
face.
You know, she's a composer
adorable.
too, like a songwriter.
Every time I listen to the song, I cry. I have the ukulele. I am the ukulele, guys, okay? I play that song.
Should have brought here. It would be amazing.
Yes, I should.
Next episode that you come, you bring and I sing something.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna sing that song.
Okay.
And we're gonna cry because she's perfect. Like, and then again, like you introduced a very fun and loving character, and then you kill her like in seconds, and it's so frustrating. The end is so frustrating.
It was. And because it was like How I Met Your Mother and ended up with Aunt Robin. Oh, sorry, spoiler. But it is still a very nice show, okay?
Yes, it's worth the ride.
No,
Even if
is.
the end is a little bumpy, the ride's very nice.
Yeah, and that would be another question for you, Emily. It's like this. Do you think that the ending of a show, it has the power to ruin the whole path, or is to separate the things? We can kind of, like How I Met Your Mother feel like that. I ignore the ending. I do this in my head. People think I'm weird. If I don't like the ending of a movie,
You have a different ending in your head.
I imagine.
Yeah,
oh, thank you. I feel better now. I create an alternative ending, Maick edition, you know, and I said, no, fuck that one. I will use this. So it's possible that the ending ruined the whole thing, or the experience is still worth it.
Yes, of course. Also, because in a series, this is very different from a movie, where the director and the writer, they know where they want to get, and like they know the ending of the thing. Like the movie, they always know the ending of the movie if they're creating the movie, unless like we're talking about Marvel nowadays, where they start shooting the movie and they don't even know like who's going to appear.
The writers are on a strike. Hey, you come here. Write an ending for my show, please.
Oh, ChatGPT, can you write the ending for my show, please? But normally a movie is not like that. But in a series, sometimes they start and then they don't know how it's gonna end. We have some directors that they are very firm about it. Like one of my favorite shows is The Good Place.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a very good one. And then like the they wanted him to do more seasons, but he said that he wouldn't do that because he knew the end and he knew how to get there, and he just needed that amount of seasons. And I respect that a lot.
3, right?
I think it was 3 or 4, something like that.
And this is like a show that I think I finished in like a week.
It's amazing. I've watched it like 4 or 5, I don't know how many
and
times.
I love because I am a philosophy geek, you know, and they use, I forgot the name of that character that is the philosophy teacher.
Oh, I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I can remember. And you had a lot of philosophical schools there in the episodes. Man, it's an amazing way to give that to the public and to do these discussions, you know. Okay, I won't forget the chat. Okay. Okay, there is a question here. Claudio. Oh, hi, André. Hi, Vivi. Hi, Claudio. What do you think about Friends? I have to confess, I hate it. Oh my god, the Friends guys, fans are gonna rage.
Yes, this is a no-friendly friend episode.
You know how you poke them? It's been many years, nobody remembers that.
Oh my god.
I'm joking.
He wants war.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
He's raging war.
I love the show. I watched everything twice too, you know.
I don't want war with any friends.
Now they will make a sequence called Enemies. I'm joking.
You're gonna star on it.
yeah, I will. First episode is like starts now. Okay, what do you think about that show?
I haven't watched it.
It's funny because when I started watching Friends, I have this friend, you know, he's older than me, and said, "Oh, it's like a new way of Seinfeld. It's like a group of people going through stuff."
Seinfeld's so good.
I haven't watched it yet, you know. The 2 series that he recommended me, it was Seinfeld and the other was The Sopranos. He said, man, you like mafia movies, and so you're gonna like that one. It's on my list. I've been saying this a lot. So which one would you say that is the top one for you today, Emily?
The series?
Yeah.
Oh my god. You asked the top 4.
Just one. Okay, one.
So I'm gonna.
Can you split in categories, maybe?
Oh, okay. I have categories here.
Okay.
So the first one is BoJack Horseman.
Another one that dives into philosophy a lot and existentialism.
Have you watched it?
A few episodes. I haven't finished.
There's an episode. Oh, spoiler alert! His mom dies, and he's.
Is she a horse?
She is actually.
Okay. It's not a silly question because watching you will understand.
Yes. But she was always very mean to him. She was an alcoholic and she was very abusive. And then by the end of it, he's trying to understand why she did all of that. And he was trying to understand why he needed to suffer through all of that in his childhood. And then by the end, he realized that he didn't need to suffer any of that.
Oh, okay.
She was a bad person. She was a bad horse, actually. And nothing could explain why he needed to go through that. And that's very powerful because it's very interesting, and the characters are very complex. So I really like that series.
Yeah, and they talk about happiness, why are we here, and the everyday stuff too. In this case, it's kind of a critique to that way of using a silver lining. Sometimes, we have to go to bad things to grow as people. Yes, we do, but if you can escape a bad thing, escape it.
Oh,
you know?
It's similar when people say like, oh, a relationship is so complicated, it's so difficult, you need to fight and you need... No, you are doing it wrong. A relationship is supposed to be easy. We have jobs, we have society, we have so many things that is so complicated that our relationships doesn't need to be complicated as well. Find someone who is easy. You can talk to them about anything. You can do whatever you want, and just being with them is very nice. That's a good relationship.
Okay, this is gonna be an amazing cut. How to have a healthy relationship, you know. And you are totally right, Emily. When you find, I don't believe there is the one, but there are people who they fit in your life perfectly, and is in a way effortless. It's like, you have to work hard to make your relationship come on. If it's not like that. It's simple, it's not easy, but it's simple.
And even with family members, I know this is we are controversial today. Sometimes this is a little controversial, but some family members, they just hurt you, and they don't make your life easier. They just make it more difficult. You are always having trouble with them. You're always fighting with them. Like, some people, we need to cut them off. And even if they're part of your family, you can find someone who's going to be part of your family and is going to make your life easier. If your family is not doing that, they're not being good family. So you need to cut them out as well. Make your life simple. Don't make your life more difficult because you want to be part of a sitcom. Nobody wants to leave a sitcom where you are always having problems. We want a simple life, and that's why we watch sitcoms, because our life is simple, and then we watch sitcoms.
Yeah, now it's the marketeer talking, and this is something that... have you ever imagined how boring would it be if we made a show that is like a family? Imagine Breaking Bad in the moments they're just having breakfast.
A functional family.
Yeah, and imagine how boring, it would be the hugest flop of every show ever made. You make a show where everybody is functional, that, oh my god, I lost my job today, I will apply for something, blah, 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 blah. Account needed. Okay, after 1 week, I have an interview. Oh, I got a job, and like every season is like everyday stuff. Okay,
I'm gonna go against you here, because there is a very good series. It's a children's show. It's called Bluey. I don't know if you heard about it. Yes, it's very good, and it's about a family of their dogs. So it's the mama dog, the daddy dog.
It's a family of dogs.
Yes.
And you got me already. It's animals.
Yeah, and then they have 2 kids. And they are a very functional family. Like, the mom is perfect. The father is the best father ever. Not better than my father, who's probably watching.
What's his name? Aparecido. Shout out to you.
And you knew this, because if I don't say it, she's gonna get jealous.
Oh, okay.
So they are a very functional family, and it's very good for kids. So they have this parameter of what is a good relationship with the parent.
Oh.
So we have a situation where they have 2 kids. So the father was paying attention in one of the kids, while the other finds a butterfly. And she's like, oh my god, a butterfly is so amazing. She started calling her father. But her father couldn't listen to her because he was doing another thing. And then the butterfly flies away. And then her dad comes and he was like, oh, were you calling me? And she was like, but the butterfly already left.
Oh,
and
that's a nice lesson.
And then she starts crying. And then he was like, I'm sorry I couldn't be with you. I was with your brother. You can tell me what happened, and I'm going to be with you here for you to tell me the memory, because I couldn't be here with you to be part of the memory. And it's a nice relationship, and it's nice to watch as well. And it teaches kids that parents should be nice with you.
No, and that's a very powerful message. If you don't pay attention in the precious little things that happens every day, you're not gonna be part of the memory. Damn.
Parents too, right? Yes, it's for parents. And there is one where the mom is feeling very bad because her son can walk. And the other kids are already start walking, so he can only crawl. And then she sees one that her daughter is already like walking, almost running, and she's like, "Oh my God, why is my kid not walking?" And then she invites the mother to go to her house, and then she realizes that she has 4 kids. It's the 4th kid. So she already has lots of experience having kids. So for her to teach and to help her child to walk is way easier because she has other kids. And then the mother, who is for her first child, she of course is having trouble, because when you do something for the first time, it's difficult, like learning English.
Yes.
Like all the things that we do in the first time is difficult. And then by the end of the episode,
unless you are a Marvel character,
unless you're a Marvel character where you can fly and you just need to discover that you were perfect all along.
You just use the power of protagonism. Is this, what's the name of this show again?
Bluey.
Bluey is like tips of Bluey, something like this. Is like a blue dog and it's like a version of Peppa Pig, something like that.
Oh, Peppa Pig would never.
No,
She wished she was Bluey.
because I think I may have watched it. You know.
If you did, you know. It's an Australian series. It's very good.
It is it? I will describe what I remember. It was an episode that one of the dogs was playing doctor, and there was a lot of dogs, and they were doing like kind of like doctor visits there, like checkups, doctor checkups, and one of the dogs were being ignored and was sad. I remember this. It's because my friends' kids were watching on TV, and I was with them like, oh, what are you doing? Then a student told me. Oh yes, I have.
Oh yeah, it's this
so
one.
I know, yeah, and it got me a little. I'll confess.
Yes, they always have a
Like a
message.
message.
Yes, that they are trying to convey, and it goes against what you said. Like they have a very functional and very loving family. But again, just because you have a lovely environment and people around you are nice doesn't mean that you're not going to find difficulties around you. So they normally focus on small difficulties, but even though it's very interesting, especially for the kids to see that.
No, I'm a little blown away now because in a way, what normally happens, and if there are parents watching, you know what I'm talking about. Now it's like I don't have time for my kids, so go watch this or give a tablet or turn on the TV. So it's a little paradoxical because the very show they will put their kids to watch is like, hey parents, come here, watch it.
Yes, and they have an episode about that as well, where the kids are watching too much, are having too much screen time, and they need to stop having screen time. But that's what you said, like having less screen
you can't
time.
say that to me.
Oh,
You can't say that to me.
sorry.
Damn, it's a trigger. Now my whole brain is gonna be like, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Okay.
But if your kid is having less time on the screen, it means that you're gonna need to give them more attention.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. Do you think, Emily, that how do you see the shows? That should they always have this type of message, like something to teach? Like when you were describing the Bluey thing, I remember an old one. There is a remake now that is called The Wonder Years. People remember because of the opening song. What would you do? Na, 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 na. You know,
No.
It's old. It's from the 90s, and it's like a family too, like a functional family from the 60s, I guess. The show it's on the 60s, and it's like everyday thing and how is to be a kid in that time. And every episode there is kind of a story. What's the moral of the story? What have we learned today? Do you think the shows, they should always have this, or sometimes you just want to sit down, lay back and relax?
I think it depends. I would always strive for this kind of content for kids because I think the kids shouldn't have much screen time. So in the screen time they have, there should be a message there somewhere. But for us adults, we already lived through those hurdles and troubles. Like sometimes we just need to watch something and be like, oh my god, I am not thinking about anything. My mind is blank like a paper, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's like the reason some things like reality shows and sports and Transformers they are so popular. One of my favorite movies in terms of hype, every time they say something, it's a very silly movie, but it's Godzilla. When there is Godzilla versus Kong, I was so much like, oh my god, Team Zilla, let's go there. And
Godzilla, no, King Kong was ginormous in that movie because like you compare to the other movies where he's like,
that would be silly.
Yes.
It would be like
yeah, but then we have Godzilla. We have Godzilla, who is ginormous, so they needed to match, so they made Godzilla King Kong bigger. And then I watched the movie, I was like, oh my god!
You know why? She was a teenager, you know? And it's because he is not a natty, you know? He's not a fake natty. He got some steroids in that Skull Island, you know?
Oh, yeah, he did. He definitely did.
But yeah,
some illegal stuff.
Yeah, it was because of that, you know. Have you ever regretted watching a show, Emily? Like you start and it was like, oh my god, I lost my time. What am I doing here? It's like Mauricio with the Star Wars movies. No, sorry, series, not movies. Yeah.
So I am someone who I always stick to the series. So if I start watching it, I'm gonna watch until the end, even if it kills me.
I hope you like Grey's Anatomy.
Oh no! Sometimes if the series is too big, I'll stop because of that.
Okay,
but like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but sometimes like you see that the series starts going downhill, and you're like, oh my god, I'm in for the ride. So Riverdale was like that, but Riverdale there was a moment that I need to let it go because it was too bad.
What is that about? I heard
no
some
idea. They don't have no idea what is that about. Like it begins as a funny like murder mystery, and then by the end of it, they're talking about like different multiverse, and
it's
they're
like
Lost. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. I know it was from the Archie comics. I've never read them, but yeah, it started going like way crazy, and then I stopped watching, and I have this thing where. Normally when they launch a new season, I start the series from the beginning and then I watch everything until the new season.
Oh my god. You read, I don't know, 200 books in 1 hour. How many episodes do you watch in like, I don't know, a weekend?
I started watching The Big Bang Theory on Saturday.
Okay.
And I am on, let's see what season I am. I am...
The Big Bang Theory, there are many.
Yes.
10 seasons, I don't know.
Yeah, since we talked about coming here, I have watched, I think, 9 series.
During this podcast, I have watched it.
But here you need to understand, because on Netflix you can make it faster. So I can watch it even faster.
That's something that for me is really cringe.
I do it.
Oh my gosh, wait.
I'm in the season 5.
I'm gonna go full Bluey on you, you know. You can fast forward your life, Emily.
I know, but I can't the series.
You are losing the experience. And do they... No, man. Don't they have like those chipmunks voices when you do that? Like...
Yeah, I don't care.
Really? They get the chipmunk voices?
No, they don't. Not as much, because on Netflix you can go just 1.5.
Okay.
But my boyfriend knows that when it comes to YouTube, I watch it 2 times. So then you have a little chipmunk voice.
Man, imagine like, okay. So you, did you ever get like anxious and emotional watching something? Like, oh my god, I need to know what's happening. And they put a filler episode.
I love my mom. She is amazing. There was one day we were watching a movie called The Fall, where the girls that get stuck. Yeah, and then like we were like 10 minutes into the movie, and she's like, "Okay, let's go to the end so we know if they're dead or not," and then we come back and watch the entire.
Man, I figure it out in like 20 minutes, something like that. Like, okay. You know, after the scene with the backpack when it falls.
Oh, come on. That's like 1 hour and a half into the movie.
No, but that was like, they gave you literally what happened there, you know? And like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I watched it alone, and then I watched it with my boyfriend, and I was like, oh, he's never gonna get it. And then the bag falls, and immediately he looks at me, and he's like, oh, so she's dead. And I was like, oh, really? We have 1 more hour of that. But yeah, so normally I just watch everything, and even How I Met Your Mother, I jumped into the end because I really wanted to know the mother.
You did that with that show?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry.
In a way, it's kind of clever because it's always a side story.
I wanted to know about the mom.
You know,
yes, like, I'm a family girl.
It's like How I had many chicks during my life before your mother. That should be the honest title.
Yes.
You know, like it's always about another fling and an ex and stuff like that, or talking about my exes. You know.
Oh yeah. How to contrive stories until you find the end.
How to stall telling something.
Yes. How to stall telling my kids that I'm in love with their aunt.
Okay, a question for you guys in the chat. What do you think about the ending of How I Met Your Mother and why she should have stayed with Barney? Okay, I'm talking about Robin. And I want your recommendations too. Okay, let me take a look here.
And to all the doctors, how could we have saved the mother?
Oh, good one too.
Doctors, please.
I have a theory. You get a new writer, you know. Okay, hi Patrick or Patrick.
That's my boyfriend.
Okay, shout out to you, man. He says that BoJack is amazing. Okay.
He watched it with me.
All right. Hi Nathan. He was talking about animes, and which one do you watch, man? Okay. Why One Piece is the best? Just. By the way, tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow is the day. Actually, it's today at 4 a.m. The live action will be available. If you are a One Piece fan, just go.
Death Note's better.
Yeah. It's a nice one too. You know, but it's a different vibe. Anyways, talking about adaptations, that's a question that I will have for you in a few minutes.
No.
It's like series, okay? Well, Marcel is asking, hi Marcel, which series has the worst finale in your opinion?
I haven't watched this one, but by, I think, popular decision, Lost.
I don't know. Lost in Game of Thrones is debatable.
Yes, Lost in Game of Thrones. I think by popular decision because I've never watched any of those, but I haven't watched any of those because people say the finale is so bad that destroys the entire series.
Lost. The whole thing about Lost is because you really feel lost. That's the thing. The whole thing is like that. You are in the middle of an island and then there's a polar bear. But what's the problem? They got
the polar bear.
I don't know if they had a focus problem, but they got carried away. Like they started to get too many loose ends there. And I don't know if it was a production thing, a budget thing. They didn't have enough time to close all these loose ends. So some explanations were like, oh, it was an airplane with a polar bear from a zoo and that's why it's here. It's not what happened, but it's just
But that's the thing you were saying about the ending. So Lost, they didn't write the ending when they started the series.
That makes total sense.
They had no idea what they were doing. It's different from, for example, everybody says a very difficult, very confusing, and with lots of Easter eggs, Dark.
Oh my god, this is a masterpiece.
But everything was written, so they knew where they were and they knew where they were getting. So there is no... there are some that I've heard, but there are not many loose ends because they knew what they were doing.
No, and
so the secret is like to have the ending. Unless you are doing something like Seinfeld, you don't need to know how it's gonna end. But if you're doing something like Lost, you need to.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And Dark as well, I think it's like 3 or 4 seasons, right? It's short.
Yes.
So that makes it easier. But I don't know, sometimes I think when the series like very hyped, the producer says, oh my god, we're gonna make a fortune, let's write a lot of seasons, and they get carried away. Like it happened with the one Supernatural. Have you watched Supernatural?
No, I have a cousin who is a very big fan, but I am bad weather, so I don't watch those kind of things. I think I'm a very The Vampire Diaries fan. I've watched The Vampire Diaries, then I watched the originals.
Yeah.
But there's another one in the middle. The originals is the best though.
You
the
like
Legend.
Klaus, I guess.
Oh, yes.
I knew everyone has he's a character that is like the Beauty and the Beast thing, very well written too.
Very well written.
Love. I remember that. Yes, love. Yes, my love. Always.
His English is awesome.
Yeah.
And then for this podcast I also watched Gossip Girl because I was like, the Gossip Girl is like a big thing, and I was like, oh, what about if it talks about it? So I watched the entire series.
Really?
Yeah.
How was the experience?
It was a very good first season, and then the rest I was like, I don't think they're going to be talking about that in the podcast, but I'm in for the ride, because it was like I googled like most watch the series, and then I started watching them, and then I was like, Gossip Girl, that sounds nice. Yeah, that sounds nice.
Man, I feel very flattered. You watched a whole series just to be here.
Oh, I watched plenty.
Man,
I rewatched the Midnight
guest
Gospel.
ever. You know.
I rewatched The Office. I rewatched the WandaVision.
Oh my God, we need a 5-hour episode.
I watched The Idol just because I knew everybody was hating on it, and I was like, oh, of course it's gonna be talking about that. And I also rewatched Miss Marvel, which is very bad.
It was a torture then.
Yes.
Okay,
there was some good points and some bad points.
There is one thing. Don't kill me. I didn't get past of season 4, The Vampire Diaries. Is the moment where Damon goes to another dimension, I guess, something like that.
Yeah.
Or that, and Bonnie's dead, and is.
That series has many troubles with.
The characters and the actors, actually, right?
Racism, because the director was very racist, and also there were one of the characters in real life, he was very racist as well. So in that part, when demons go and in the other dimension, he goes with Bonnie, who is a black character, and everybody started shipping them.
Yeah.
But then in the end, the writer didn't want them together, and many people think that's because she was black.
Oh.
And then she's like a witch. Of course, she's black. And she always has some plots where her boyfriend either dies or
Tyler,
he suffers
she was
a
with
lot.
Tyler, right? She was with Tyler. And...
Yeah, she has like the rest of the rest, the garbage.
I wanted him, Damon, to end up with.
You wanted him.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
But come on, that guy, Ian Somerhalder. He was one of the most handsome men in the world. Now everybody now everybody has a thing for Henry Cavill, but I said, man, that guy's handsome as fuck. Anyways, my problem with the Vampire Diaries, I don't know if you had the same impression, is that
go easy because
I like the show, but I got tired because they used the Dragon Ball formula. What is the Dragon Ball formula?
Oh yes, it gets crazier and crazier, and then in the final season they are fighting against the devil.
No, not all this, but another thing that you will relate. If I'm saying something wrong, you can correct me. But the villain of today's season is gonna be an anti-hero of the next one, and eventually is gonna be a good guy. That happens with Klaus, with Damon, with a lot of characters. And if they use it with one or another, it's okay, but they repeat it. So I say, okay, who is gonna be the next anti-hero from the other season? Is the villain of this one? And I started to see until season 4 the same formula, you know.
Again, a series where they started and they had no idea where they were going. And they were just like in the train, everybody was watching, and they have very high views, and the studio was like, you need to make more seasons. Yeah. And they were like, oh my god, what are we doing? And they kept going like crazy. The craziest part for me is the fact that the main character is
Elena.
In the middle of the series, she decides she doesn't want to be part of the series anymore, and they kept going.
No, this happens with many shows, and that's another thing.
That's so crazy.
2 shows that the people are gonna hate me for saying that, but it happens with The Walking Dead, because the protagonist, I love that show. It's one of my favorites because of the anthropology thing there. But anyways,
too scary for me.
Oh yeah, it is. But I like zombie stuff, you know. So, you know, we have always to be prepared, you know. I always wanted to do this live. Anyways, what happens there? Okay, it's gonna be noisy. You see, guys, we do that live. the actor had a problem because he's from London and they were filming in US, so he was being very distant from his family. So eventually he had to leave the show, but then, spoiler alert, he is brought back for a sequel, And I think the show got to a certain level because they started to develop other characters. They had a lot of things to develop. This was nice. But they put a lot of filler episodes because of this that you are saying. Oh, we are making money, so we need a show with blah, blah, blah episodes, And in the middle, when something really interesting is happening, you have a whole episode of a filler with some side characters that you don't give a damn,
But sometimes this one is controversial. Sometimes the filler is so good that you don't mind. The Last of Us, second or fourth episode, where there is the couple, the third, where there is the couple. It was a filler.
Yeah.
I didn't mind, not even a little bit. It was so nice. It was such a very good change of pace because the girl had just died. Like everything was so depressing, and then we had that episode that was so interesting. Not only because it was a gay couple, but also because like you see someone who is very closed. That when in society he was very closed off, and then he needed to the entire society to collapse. So he would finally be open himself to have a relationship with someone else.
The feeling that I got from that one is like this is what is happening in that world in that moment too. So even in that crazy post-apocalyptic scenario, there are still people having like an everyday happy life, because some people were criticized like, this story was doing like this, like you said, and then you have two people playing house there in the middle, like a love story. But every show has a love story. You can try to name one. Even in war movies, they would put a scene, the guy like, hey Jack, and then he got his helmet and there's a pretty girl picture.
Or the love story, it doesn't need to be another person. Like the war movie sometimes is a love story with the country.
Can be as well. Yeah. It's something that hooks us, right?
Yeah, I watched Dunkirk, and I think there is a love story there.
It's from
somewhere.
Nolan, this is the director.
Yeah, Nolan. And then you see that the love story is about the people who are doing all of that to help each other. Like this is the love story. It's not exactly like
that's an amazing movie.
Physical one, but it's a love story.
How many episodes do you think a show should have in order to keep the level of the story interesting and hook up the audience?
I think it's very difficult to say because when we talk about series, we are talking about a big range of things.
Yeah.
So, for example, we have Adventure Time. Like, how many episodes do we need for Adventure Time? All of them.
Some shows I hope they never end. Like, I started to watch Simpsons, Family Guy, these comedy, cartoons, animations, whatever.
And they are never gonna end.
Yeah, they're
Disney now.
They're in a level that people are using them to say they are predicting the future.
Yeah.
Because there's so many episodes that eventually,
they're going to.
Or maybe they are, but
Maybe that's the glitch in the Matrix.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch this kind of mind-blown shows?
So my second favorite show is called Midnight Gospel.
Midnight Gospel. I don't know if I've seen this one. What is the plot about?
So this one, I need to give a shout out to a student who I don't remember the name now. I'm so sorry.
Shout out to you for the recommendation.
But my students, they know that I watch series. So sometimes, like when I'm starting the class, I'm like, hello guys. So I finished my series. Does anybody have any recommendation? And then they recommend me some series. And then this student recommended me Midnight Gospel. And now it's the
okay.
Have you watched it?
I watched some episodes too because they also talk about the existentialism. Buddhism.
They talk about religion. They talk about guilty. They talk about forgiveness. And in the most beautiful episode, they talk about death.
Oh, yeah.
Where
the vibe of BoJack Horseman in a way.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because they also have a podcast, and it started as a podcast where he invited many people to participate, and then he turned that into an animated series.
Oh, that's an amazing idea.
Yeah, so if you watch the series, it's just him talking to another person, and then many things happening in the animation because it is a podcast.
That's genius. And are the episodes like 1 hour, 20 minutes? I think it's 20 minutes, right?
Oh, no, I think it's
length.
40 minutes.
40?
Yeah,
Oh,
something like that.
Average long, in a way.
Yeah, no, but it's so good. And the animation is from the same... is the same guy who made the animation from Adventure Time. So it's like very, very crazy, colorful, and acid. But then you have like the most beautiful conversations. And the one that I talked to you about the mom, the podcast, he did a podcast with his mom when she was diagnosed with late cancer.
Damn, that's tough.
And she died 1 week later.
Damn.
So not only is the episode very hard because it's an episode of someone who has already died, but she's also talking about death, and she's talking about the fact that now that she realized that she's dying, she started living so much.
Man, that's beautiful.
Yes.
It is. And that's one of the nice things. Could you list a show that you think it really changed you in that aspect? Like some shows, like after I watch it, I can say that I was the same. The first one that did that to me was that one, Wonder Years. You know, when I watched it as a kid and then I watched it as an adult, like few years later. And it's like this, an everyday situation that any person could relate, but then there is the heavy lesson you get from it, and then you start to think, oh, life is short, I have to pay attention on the correct things, you know. Do you have one like that in your list?
Yes, I don't want to say the same series, so I'm gonna go for another one. And it's one that you probably haven't we're not waiting for, but it's WandaVision.
Oh, I liked this one.
It's very good, and it hooked me up very well because when they talk about grief, and you understand the entire series is about her trying to deal with the fact that she lost someone that she loved very much. That was
After
very
her brother
touching.
died as well.
Yeah, like she has a very difficult story. But the grief talk that she has with Vision, and then he says like, what is grief is not love that lingers.
Exactly.
And I have had I have lost people in my life, and sometimes you just have that heavy feeling like, oh my god, I miss them so much, or oh my god, I wish I could have done. But then you remember that what you have left now is love, the love you had for them. And that series really made me remember that, and it's like really touched me. Yeah,
it's an amazing message. The lesson I got from that is like this. The amount of pain that we feel when somebody we love passed away is directly proportional to the amount of love, caring, and like good feelings that we have had when the person was alive. That's why it hurts so much, because there's
and
this
that's why
whole...
it lingers.
Exactly.
Because if the person was still alive, you would still be loving and cherishing them for...
Don't make me cry.
Let's
go
sorry.
to the chat. Oh my god. And people ask, why do you watch a series? Because of this, you know. All right. Okay, if André is saying here, if you want to see a real family, watch the episode Fishes from the Bear. Thanks for the recommendation.
Oh, The Bear. The Bear is on Star Plus. I haven't watched that series. I want to watch it so much, but it's on Star Plus. You see, the universe is giving me a sign to subscribe to that one as well.
Have you? Leticia is asking, have you ever watched Doctor Who?
Oh, I did. I think I watched it. Oh, Leticia is my friend. Hello, Leticia.
Shout out to you, Leticia.
Yes, I watched, I think, 3 or 4 seasons, but I have forgotten everything.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was interesting. I watched Doctor House the entire series. Very good.
Oh, I have to watch this one too. Damn.
But that one is gonna take a little time.
Yeah, it's many seasons as
I
well.
think it's 11.
Hello, Kawan. Thanks. Love ya. Mateus is saying hi. Patrick said Eternos. I don't know in what moment it was. Maybe it was a deception thing.
Oh, it's because he hates Eternals. It's one of the movies where because I forced him to watch all the Marvel movies.
Okay, logically.
Yeah. And then when we arrived in Eternals, I was like, okay, so this one is bad. And he was like, how bad? And I was like, bad. And he was like, okay. And then we started watching, and if we finished, he was like, why did you make me watch this entire movie?
I should have stopped in Captain America 2.
And and I was like, because you need to understand what's going to happen next. But then, like, nothing happened about the Eternals. And like, why did I need to? Oh,
it
I'm
looks
so
like
sorry.
a complete side story. Like, you imagine, they're gonna fight to
It's so
someone.
bad.
Yeah, it's like,
Yes,
nobody
cares.
Nobody didn't have time for that.
No, and the funny thing was, I was like, no, you need to watch it because, like, I watched it and it probably was gonna be very
You need
important
to suffer with me. We are a couple.
By the end, it was just that. Yes,
Okay.
it was suffering in group.
Your dad is saying my Princess Emily and everything.
Oh, my father's the
Sonia is
best.
saying beautiful. Claudette is saying hi. Okay.
My family heavy hitters here.
High Times Rio, Severance, Game of Thrones is probably about the ending. Yeah, they ruined Daenerys in that show. It makes
Another
no sense.
girl power, right?
Exactly. Can you let me just cover the chat and then you can explain them the concept of the Mary Sue thing, they're saying about, I don't know if it's sarcasm or not, André, but he said 2.5 Men had a good ending. Yeah. And technically Game of Thrones, they knew the end, but they George Martin apparently told them, but they managed to ruin. What do you think about The 100, Leticia?
Oh my god. That's a series where, like, God is in the steering wheel and let's go with him. Because, like,
Really?
Yeah, the premise of the story is very good. Like, the Earth is uninhabitable, so they are living in a spaceship. So then turns out maybe Earth is habitable again. So they take 100 people and they drop them here on Earth to see if they can survive. And then, like, that's a very good idea. Like, it's in a utopic future.
There's some tribal things there,
It's, like, very interesting. By the end of it,
man.
they are traveling through space, looking for another place to live. They find a place to live where they take their memories. They have a... It's like
a chip there.
There's a chip that they implant, and then the person dies, and they take the memory and put in another body.
Oh, like Altered Carbon, no way.
Body snatchers, like it's like too crazy.
And then you finish, you go back to season 1, like bling, reset.
No, it's there's many series where you watch into the end and you're like, how did we get here?
Oh man, okay.
And
so
that's
I'm not
one
gonna
of
watch
these.
that. I wanted to watch, but
maybe the first season, but I think it's not even necessary.
all right. Isa, she's saying about Dr. House. Okay. Patrick is saying that Eternals was a waste of time.
I'm sorry, darling.
Showpiecer, Jonathan D saying Showpiecer. I don't know this one. Do you know?
Shopster?
Yeah,
No.
I have no idea. Okay, hi Genilda Lopes. Hey. Claudia's asking, what do you think about Emily in Paris? Have you seen it?
Oh yes, of course, because if I'm going to receive all the jokes about Emily in
of course,
Paris,
yeah.
I need to watch the series.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because she's Emily, she's in Paris, and she works with marketing. I am Emily, I'm not in Paris, but I also work with marketing.
What a coincidence, huh?
I don't think so, because I'm not white and I'm not in Paris. So I just want all the white privileges that Emily has and to go to Paris. That's my opinion about that series.
Okay, you finished it?
Yeah, I watched the 3 seasons
Okay.
because it's such a white privilege of just arriving in Paris, not speaking, she doesn't speak like anything
Okay.
of French.
And she manages.
No, she's like, why are you people don't understand me? Like, because you don't speak French. And she's like, yeah, but I speak English. And everybody's
how dare
like,
you not to do that?
and it's very interesting, that series, because they do something. Have you watched Gossip Girl?
No.
So in Gossip Girl, we have a character called Blair. And she's very unlikable because she is unlikable, and she knows she's unlikable, and everybody knows she's unlikable. And that's very interesting because the way she interacts with the other characters is different because she is a bitch. And then we
You
have...
can say bitch, don't worry.
Yeah. And then we have Emily in Paris, where she is a bitch, but she doesn't realize that she's a bitch. And then
many people can relate to that.
exactly. But you can also relate to having someone who's a bitch and has no idea that they are a bitch.
Oh, but
and
that's true.
They act like they are the best person on earth, and they don't understand why nobody likes them. And you're like, because you are a bitch.
If they watch, they'll say, "I'm not like that."
Yeah.
Oh, it's true. If you are like that, or if you're crazy, you don't know you are, so you won't relate.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good link for the question that I wanted to ask you, because a lot of things, I watch many YouTubers. When we were talking about the N word, which I'm not saying, but because I watch a lot of. Are you
Let's
there?
say it together.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Native. No, I'm joking. I watch a lot of podcasts where they use this, and one of the discussions that was happening is a lot of unlikable characters nowadays in the shows, and one of the reasons you beautifully explained it before we started was about characters they're unrelatable because they don't have flaws, and you have the Mary Sue thing, and if I want a strong woman character, all the guys have to be jackasses or stupid or useless, Please enlighten us.
I think the best example of that is Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, actually, where you see, for example, we have Breaking Bad, where the character is flawed, and we like him because of that, and we are interested in his story because of that, and that's what connects us with him, because, come on, everybody who watched the series starts thinking, like, if I could become a millionaire selling drugs, would I? And then, you start, he's dying, and he has a family, he has a daughter who's just coming.
It's like a meth head.
Yes, you understand all the bad that he's doing, but you also can relate to the struggles that he's having. Mm-hmm. And then you have Captain Marvel, where the struggles that she's having is that she's super awesome. And she's so awesome that people are treating her badly because she's so awesome.
Everybody envies me.
Yeah, it's like, they don't want me to use my full power. What a shame. What a problem I have. Mm. And then you're like, no, you don't have a problem. That's not a problem. And also, then you have Nick Fury, who is such a good character, but he has been done so wrong. Because you take Nick Fury, who was a presence, who is Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
And then you turn him into a Scooby-Doo character running around with Captain Marvel trying to help her, where he's supposed to be a very smart and very has many plans and all of that. He sees ahead of everything, and then no, he's just a stupid person following Captain Marvel, who knows everything. She's a know-it-all. And you are not going to relate to that, and that's not a good representation for female characters. A good representation would be Pen from The Office.
The best comedy show ever. Undebatable.
Where you have there a flawed character. A character who has given up on many opportunities.
Yeah.
A character who goes to school and doesn't finish it because she doesn't think she's good enough. A character who gets jealous of her partner. A character that cheats, that do bad things. And even though she does all of that, you still relate to her and you still like her because she's a human. And those things is what makes her an interesting character. Whereas if you take someone who is perfect and they just need to realize that they're perfect for the movie to end, you're not going to relate to that because nobody's perfect.
Yeah, we unfortunately, I mean, we are running out of time, we need a 5-hour episode to talk about everything we have to talk. I have two recommendations actually. Okay, if it was possible, it would be amazing to transform The Walking Dead in PG-13 just for you to watch, because I imagine you would really like the development of two characters. One is called Carol. You know, he is like a redneck woman that had this abusive relation, and she develops in such a nice way. The second is Michonne. You probably have seen her, like a strong black girl with a katana. Yeah. She's awesome. And the show got kind of off track in some moment, but they used a lot of the original material, and the development of some characters was very nice. The second one is One Piece because of that. You know, the characters development is amazing. It's difficult to think of another example that the writer put so much effort to really explain why they are how they are, except the villains. Some villains, they're just like you said, oh, I want a villain to be just a jackass and like to be bad.
And that's awesome. I love that.
Okay, before we wrap this up, unfortunately, you know, final message to our listeners, and thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. My message is watch series and watch series with people you like, because you're gonna have conversations like these.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best part. That's why I made Patrick watch Eternals, because even though the movie was terrible, we talked so much about that movie, and that makes it interesting. Life is nothing if not shared. So don't watch series and watch movies to alienate yourself from other people.
Nice.
And to not have relationships with other people. Use that as a tool to talk to other people, especially if you're learning English as well.
Exactly.
Watching series can be a tool to learn English, but most than anything, it can be a tool for that. Maybe making a friend or having conversations about a very bad movie.
Yes, and the bonding thing. Yeah. Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And guys, I loved all the chat here. Thank you so much. Don't forget, we will be posting these episodes weekly, okay? And like the video, you know, there are 30 people watching. I want 30 likes right now, okay? Share, you know, and see you next week on our next episode of Talking Times. Bye-bye.
And subscribe.
Yes.